Good day everyone, especially to you Ma'am Chasa Padiranga. So we are the group 4 and our topic for today is all about North America. So North America is the third largest continent with a diversity to show for it, whether it ranges from icy Greenland to tropical beaches to the Caribbean, and an incredibly array of the national parks and preserves shows of a huge canyons, breathtaking mountains, ancient forests, and fascinating wildlife. And every part of the continent has a complex and mixed cultural heritage shaped by indigenous people, colonization, and waves of immigration. Why is it called North America? North America and South America are named after Italian navigator Amerigo Vespucci. Vespucci was the first European to suggest that Americas were not part of the East Indies but an entirely separate landmass. How many countries in North America? As of 2020, there are a total of 24 countries in North America. Among them, Canada is the largest country by the area and the United States is the biggest one by population. By contrast, the small country in North American continent is Saint Kitts and Nevis, composed by two small islands. And the most common languages are English and Spanish, while many other languages are also spoken including French, Dutch, and Indian language. Residents are primarily Protestant or Catholic. Moreover, North America is a continent in the northern hemisphere and almost entirely within the western hemisphere. It is a border to the north and also the Arctic Ocean, to the east by the Atlantic Ocean, to the southwest and by the South America, and the Caribbean Sea to the west and the south and by the Pacific Ocean. So what is the total geographical area of North America? North America continent has an area of 24,709,000 kilometers squared, accounting for 16.5% of world's total land area, with a population of 579,024,000. The continent contributes to 7.5% of the world's population. Hello everyone, this is Amy Grace Manghano from Bachelor of Science in Tourism Management, and today we'll be tackling about countries and capital cities. The first country we have Bahamas. Officially, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is an island country within the Lucayan archipelago of the West Indies in the North Atlantic. Nassau is the capital of Bahamas and it lies on the island of New Providence, with neighboring Paradise Island accessible by an Nassau harbor bridges. It retains many of its typical pastel-colored British colonial buildings like Pinkwood and Government House. The second country we have Barbados. It is an Eastern Caribbean island and an independent British Commonwealth nation. Bridgeton, the capital, is a cruise ship port with colonial buildings, and Haida Israel, a synagogue founded in 1654. Around the island are beaches, botanical gardens, the Horizon ski formations, and in the 17th century plantation houses like St. Nicholas Abbey. The local traditions includes afternoon tea and cricket and a national sport. The next country is Belize. It is a nation on the eastern coast of Central America with the Caribbean Sea shorelines to the east and dense jungle to the west. Belmopan, the capital of Belize, located near the town of Roaring Creek in the Belize River Valley for 50 miles or 80 kilometers inland from Belize City, the former capital in the Caribbean coast, and the new capital was conceived after Hurricane Hattie and an associated tidal wave did extensive damage to Belize City in 1961. Next is Canada. It's a country in North America. Its 10 provinces and 3 territories extend to the Atlantic Ocean, to the Pacific Ocean, and northward into Arctic Ocean, covering over 9.8 million square kilometers, making it world's second largest country by total area. Ottawa is Canada's capital in the east of southern Ontario, near the city of Montreal and the United States border. Sitting on the Ottawa River, it has at its center Parliament Hill, with grand Victorian architectures and museums such as the National Gallery of Canada, with noted collections of Indigenous and other Canadian art. Next is Costa Rica. It's a rugged, rainforested Central American country with coastlines on the Caribbean and Pacific. Through its capital, San Jose is home to cultural institutions like Pre-Columbian Gold Museum. Costa Rica is known for its beaches, volcanoes, and biodiversity. Roughly a quarter of its area is made up of protected jungle and teeming with wildlife including spider monkeys and quetzal birds. The next country is Cuba. Officially, the Republic of Cuba is an island country comprising the island of Cuba as well as Isla de la Juventud and several minor archipelagos. Cuba is located where the northern Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico, and Atlantic Ocean meet. Havana is Cuba's capital city. So the Spanish colonial architecture in its 16th century old Havana core includes the Castillo de Real Fuerza and Fort of Maritime Museum. And the National Capitol building is an iconic 1920s landmark. And also in Old Havana is a Baroque Catedral de San Cristobal and Plaza Vieja, whose building reflects into the city vibrant architectural mix. Next, we have Greenland. Is an island country in North America that is part of Kingdom of Denmark. It is located between the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans, east of Canadian Arctic Archipelago. Greenland is the world's largest island. Nuuk, Greenland's capital. It is a small city of the country's southwest coast, and its large fort system is known for waterfalls, humpback whales, and iceberg. And the waterfront is dotted with the brightly colored houses against the backdrop of Sermitsiaq Mountain. And Greenland National Museum has mummies and Inuit skin boats, and while Inuk art was museums displays local works, and the Katuic Cultural Centers offers films and concerts and art.
I am Stephanie Joy Bolo, and I will be continue reporting the countries and capitals of North America. Dominica is a mountainous Caribbean island nation with natural hot spring and tropical rainforest. Rocio is the capital of the Caribbean island nation of Dominica. It's on the southwest coast and known for its 18th century Creole architecture. Its cobblestone old market, formerly a slave auction site, sells craft and fruit. It's next to the Dominica Museum, with exhibits on the country's natural and cultural history. The Dominica Botanic Garden showcases tropical flora and native Cicero parrots. The Dominican Republic is a Caribbean nation that shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti to the west. It's known for its beaches, resorts, and golfing. Its terrain comprises rainforest, savanna, and highlands, including Pico Duarte, the Caribbean's tallest mountain, capital city Santo Domingo, a Spanish landmarks like the Dulce Cathedral Primada de America dating back 5 centuries in its Zona Colonial District, one of the Caribbean's oldest cities. El Salvador. Officially, the Republic of El Salvador is a country in Central America. It is bordered on the northeast by Honduras, on the northwest by Guatemala, and on the south by the Pacific Ocean. El Salvador's capital and largest city is San Salvador. San Salvador is a modern city of wide boulevards and narrow streets, outdoor markets, government building, high-rises, monuments, and exuberant nightlife, museums and other cultural institutions, and all sit against the backdrop of San Salvador volcano. Peaceful settings such as the Botanic Garden of Parque Cuscatlan provide a break from the city's hectic pace. Grenada is a Caribbean country comprising a main island, also called Grenada, and smaller surrounding islands. Dubbed the Spice Isle, the hilly main island is home to numerous nutmeg plantations. It's also the site of the capital, St. George, whose colorful homes, Georgian buildings, and early 18th century Fort George overlook narrow Carnegie Harbor. To the south is Grand Anse Beach, with resort and bars. Guatemala, a Central American country south of Mexico, is home to volcanoes, rainforests, and ancient Mayan sites. The capital, Guatemala City, features the stately National Palace of Culture and National Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology, Antigua. West of the capital contains preserved Spanish colonial buildings. Lake Ataytlan, formed in a massive volcanic crater, is surrounded by coffee fields and villages. Haiti is a Caribbean country that shares the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic to its east. Though it's still recovering from a 2010 earthquake, many of Haiti's landmarks dating to the early 19th century remain intact. Honduras is a Central American country with Caribbean Sea coastlines to the north and the Pacific Ocean to the south. In the tropical rainforest near Guatemala, the ancient Mayan ceremonial site, Copan, has stone-carved hieroglyphics and skeletal stone monuments. Tegucigalpa sits in a central valley surrounded by mountains. It's known for its well-preserved Spanish colonial architecture. The main plaza, Morazon, is dominated by the 18th century Cathedral of St. Michael the Archangel with a Baroque interior. The Museum of National Identity traces the country's history. It includes a virtual tour of the Copan Mayan ruins of western Honduras. Jamaica, a Caribbean island nation, has a lush topography of mountains, rainforests, and leaf-lined beaches. Many of its all-inclusive resorts are clustered in Montego Bay. With its British colonial architecture and Negril, known for its diving and snorkeling sites, Jamaica is famed as the birthplace of reggae music, and its capital, Kingston, is home to the Bob Marley Museum, dedicated to the famous singer.
Mexico, officially the United Mexican States, is a country in the southern portion of North America. It is bordered to the north by the United States, to the south and west by Pacific Ocean, to the southeast by Guatemala, Belize, and Caribbean Sea, and to the east by the Gulf of Mexico. Mexico City is the densely populated high-altitude capital of Mexico. It's known for its Templo Mayor, a 13th century Aztec temple, the Baroque Cathedral Metropolitana de Mexico of the Spanish conquistadors, and the Palacio Nacional, which houses historic murals by Diego Rivera. All of these are situated in and around the Plaza de la Constitucion, the massive main square also known as Zocalo. Nicaragua, set between the Pacific Ocean and Caribbean Sea, is a Central American nation known for its dramatic terrain of lakes, volcanoes, and beaches. Vast Lake Managua and the iconic stratovolcano Momotombo sit north of the capital Managua. To its south is Grenada, noted for its Spanish colonial architecture and an archipelago of navigable islets rich in tropical bird life. Managua, on the south shore of Lake Managua, is the capital city of Nicaragua. Its cathedral, a shell since 1972 earthquake, is on the Plaza of the Revolution. Nearby is the tomb of Sandinista leader Carlos Francesca. The 1935 National Palace of Culture Houses and National Museums. Hilltop Parque Histórico Nacional Loma de Tizcapa is known for its crater lake and huge statue of revolutionary Augusto Sandino. Panama is a country in the isthmus linking Central and South America. The Panama Canal is a famous feat of human engineering cuts through its center, linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans to create an essential shipping route. In the capital, Panama City, the modern skyscrapers, casinos, and nightclubs contrast with colonial buildings in Casco Viejo district and the rainforest of Natural Metropolitan Park. Panama City, the capital of Panama, is a modern city framed by the Pacific Ocean and man-made Panama Canal. Casco Viejo, its cobblestone historic center, is framed for colonial-era landmarks like the neoclassical Palacio Presidencial and Bougainvillea-filled plazas lined with cafes and bars. The Miraflores Locks offers views of ships traversing the canal and essential shipping route linking the Atlantic and Pacific. St. Kitts and Nevis is a dual island nation situated between the Atlantic Ocean and Caribbean Sea. It's known for cloud-shrouded mountains and beaches. Many of its former sugar plantations are now inns or atmospheric ruins. As the larger of the two islands, St. Kitts is dominated by the dormant Mount Liamuega volcano, home to a crater lake, green vervet monkeys, and rainforest crisscrossed with hiking trails. Pasetre, the capital of the Caribbean Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's the gateway to popular St. Kitts beaches like South Friars Bay. At the city's heart, Independence Square has an Italian-inspired fountain. Just off the Circus Traffic Circle, with its Victorian Berkeley Memorial Clock Tower, is the National Museum. In the stately old Treasury Building, it explores the island's colonial past. St. Lucia is an Eastern Caribbean island nation with a pair of dramatically tapered mountains, the Pitons on its west coast. Its coast is home to volcanic beaches, reef diving sites, luxury resorts, and fishing villages. Trails in the interior rainforest lead to the waterfalls like 15 meters high trail, which pours over a cliff into a garden. The capital, Castries, is a popular cruise port. Castries is the capital of the island nation of St. Lucia in the Caribbean Sea. It's known for its palm-lined Vigi Beach and as a port of call for cruise lines with duty-free shopping near the harbor. The Cathedral Basilica of the Immaculate Conception with its colorful mural sits by the leafy, direct Walcott Square Park. Lively Castries Market is nearby. In the south, Morne Fortune Hill offers views of the city. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a southern Caribbean nation comprising a main island, St. Vincent, and a chain of smaller islands with yacht-filled harbors, chic private isles, and volcanic landscapes. It's known for its major sailing destinations such as reef-lined Bequia Island off Admiralty Bay. Bordered by white sand beaches, the Princess Margaret. The main island is home to the capital, Kingstown. Kingstown is the capital of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The port city is known for its botanical gardens. Founded in 1765 and home to tropical plants and aviaries. On a ridge above the bay, the 1806 Fort Charlotte offers panoramic views of their archipelago. The city center has 19th century churches such as St. Mary's Cathedral. The lively Kingstown market sells local produce. Popular Villa Beach is nearby. Trinidad and Tobago is a dual-island Caribbean nation near Venezuela, with distinctive Creole traditions and cuisines. Trinidad's capital, Port of Spain, hosts a boisterous carnival feature, calypso and soca music. Numerous bird species inhabit sanctuaries such as the Arthur Wright Nature Center. The smaller islands of Tobago is known for its beaches and the Tobago Main Ridge Forest Reserve, which shelters hummingbirds. Port of Spain on Trinidad's northwest coast is the capital city of Trinidad and Tobago. It's known for its huge carnival with calypso and Caribbean soca music. Bordering the expensive Queen's Park, Savannah, the Royal Botanic Gardens display plants from all over the world. The garden also encompassed Emperor Valley Zoo. The Magnificent Seven near Queen's Park is a row of extravagant mansions from around 1900. United States is a country of 50 states covering a vast swath of North America, with Alaska in the northwest and Hawaii extending to the nation's presence into the Pacific Ocean. Major Atlantic coast cities are New York, a global finance and culture center, and capital, Washington, D.C. Midwestern metropolis, Chicago, is known for its influential architecture, and on the West Coast, Los Angeles, Hollywood is famed for filmmaking. Washington, D.C. is the U.S. capital. It is a compact city on the Potomac River, bordering the states of Maryland and Virginia. It's defined by composing neoclassical monuments and buildings, including the iconic that housed the federal government's three branches. The United States is a country of 50 states covering a vast swath of North America, with Alaska in the northwest and Hawaii extending to the nation's presence into the Pacific Ocean. Major Atlantic coast cities are New York, a global finance and culture center, and capital, Washington, D.C. Midwestern metropolis, Chicago, is known for its influential architecture, and on the West Coast, Los Angeles, Hollywood is famed for filmmaking. Washington, D.C. is the U.S. capital. It is a compact city on the Potomac River, bordering the states of Maryland and Virginia. It's defined by composing neoclassical monuments and buildings, including the iconic that housed the federal government's three branches: the Capitol, White House, and Supreme Court. It is also home to iconic museums and performing arts venues such as the Kennedy Center.
So hello everyone, I am Kristen May Ella Disla, and I am here to tackle the top 10 tourist destinations in North America. So to begin with, we have the Capilano Suspension Bridge. The Capilano Suspension Bridge stretches 460 feet and rises 230 feet above the Capilano River in North Vancouver, British Columbia. The Canadian Walking Bridge draws over 800,000 tourists a year. The bridge was built in 1989 by a Scottish civil engineer named Grant Mackay, who served as the park commissioner for Vancouver. The bridge was made of cedar planks and hemp ropes. It was replaced with a wire cable bridge in 1903. Next is we have the Bourbon Street. So in the heart of the New Orleans and its oldest neighborhood, the French Quarter's Bourbon Street. The French Quarter of Louisiana is its most historic and carries the legacy of New Orleans French heritage. Bourbon Street has always had a rich reputation as home of the city's red light district. In the 1960s and 1970s, the street was cleaned up and made as a pedestrian plaza, inviting tourists. The street is still home to bars and strip clubs, but is also home to fine dining, shopping, art exhibits, and live jazz music performances. The third one is the CN Tower. The skyline of Toronto, Canada, is defined by the CN Tower. The 553.3-foot communication tower was completed in 1976. The tower was the world's tallest freestanding structure until 2009, when the Canton Tower was built in Burj Khalifa. The CN Tower attracts more than 2 million visitors a year. Not only does the tower serve as the communication tower, but it also has an observation deck and restaurant with amazing panoramic views of Toronto. Fourth is we have the National Mall. The capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., has multiple attractions, but visitors must be sure to check out the National Mall. The national park begins at Capitol Hill and stretches toward the Potomac River. The National Mall is a gathering place for people witnessing the United States presidential inaugurations. Fifth is the Tulum, Mexico. Again, the Mayans are here. The port city of Mayans, Tulum is a place of beach waters and white sand. It is a laid-back city and known for dense jungles. The visit to the denotes will be refreshing as you could see crystal clear water. In fact, there are many cenotes in Mexico and the most beautiful ones are in Tulum. Sixth is the Golden Gate Bridge. So when visiting the San Francisco, Oakland area of California, it would be impossible to miss the Golden Gate Bridge. The iconic orange vermilion, also called the International Orange Colored Steel Suspension Bridge, links San Francisco to Marin County. Construction of the bridge began in 1933. At the time of its opening in 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge was the tallest and the longest suspension bridge in the world. At 4,200 feet tall, the bridge is the tallest in the United States today. So seventh, we have the amazing Walt Disney World. It is the most visited resort in the United States. Walt Disney and his brother Ray opened the theme park Disneyland in Anaheim, California in 1955 and wanted to open a supplemental park. Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom was created in Orlando, Florida and opened in October 1971. Walt Disney World is the most popular family trip destination. The Magic Kingdom's iconic Cinderella's castles, Space Mountain, and are fun for people of all ages. So 8 is the Niagara Falls. The Niagara Falls is an amazing natural wonder located in the border of the United States and Canada. The falls are the must-see attraction in North America. The falls attract an average of 12 million visitors from all over the world each year. And there is much to do and see beside the amazing waterfalls. The Niagara Falls are definitely a must-see attraction in North America. Second to the last is the Guanajuato, Mexico. This state in central Mexico beckons visitors with its pleasant climate, colorful towns, artsy undertones, and relaxed vibe. Its capital, Guanajuato City, has been a growing vacation destination since it was granted UNESCO's World Heritage status in 1987. Visitors flock from the US and Europe to Guanajuato City for its colonial architecture and charming narrow streets. So the last one, we have the Trinidad, Cuba. The beautiful colonial town of Trinidad in central Cuba has all it takes to be one of the top vacation destinations in North America. Travelers to Tropical Cuba, the Pearl of Caribbean, sometimes don't make it as deep into the country to reach Trinidad. The city has a vibrant music scene, a wealth of colonial architecture, and some of the best food in Cuba. So now, you already know the 10 top tourist attractions in North America. I hope you had learned something in my report. Thank you. second to the last tourist attraction we have is the Guanajuato, Mexico. This state in the central Mexico beckons visitors with its pleasant climate, colorful towns, artsy undertones, and relaxed vibe. Its capital, Guanajuato City, has been a growing vacation destination since it was granted UNESCO World Heritage status in 1987. Visitors flock from the US and Europe to Guanajuato City for its colonial architecture and charming narrow streets. So last, we have the Trinidad, Cuba. The beautiful colonial town of Trinidad in central Cuba has all it takes to be one of the top vacation destinations in North America. Travelers to tropical Cuba, the pearl of the Caribbean, sometimes don't make it as deep into the country to reach Trinidad. The city has a vibrant music scene, a wealth of colonial architecture, and some of the best food in Cuba.
Hello everyone, I am now in IBA class. So the last part of this topic is culture and traditions in North America. The culture of North America refers to the arts and other manifestations of human activities and achievements from the continent of North America. Cultures of North America reflect not only that of the continent's indigenous peoples, but those cultures that followed European colonization as well. Much of North America shares traditions, so some that are listed primarily in the United States may be observed in Canada and Mexico as well. And that is true for each country. Things like Mastilo, under which couple kiss, and Holly, Santa Claus, and gift giving are fairly universal. Before the appearance of Europeans, the tradition of America, North and South, were only the customs and way of life of its indigenous population. There were several million North American Indians alone, in the tribe uniting them more than 600. Each tribe led its own economy, had its own rituals and holidays, a different occupation in material wealth. Modern Indians are almost completely assimilated into multinational American society, but they try to preserve some of the traditions of North America inherited from their ancestors. Kite Festival. The Kite Festival is a North American tradition that dates back to the Indians. Snakes symbolize dead children, but the holiday turns out to be very bright and positive. Here are some examples of tribes that populated the continent before the Europeans arrived to conquer and take over their land and establish their own culture in North America. Number 1. The Inuit. Inuit is the proper name for the original inhabitants of North America's Arctic regions. The term Eskimo is considered derogatory and should not be used. The Inuit existed primarily as hunter-gatherers before the arrival of Europeans. They hunted caribou, seals, whales, walruses, and other sea mammals for food, and also to use as material for their clothing, tools, houses, and kayaks. Number 2. The Cree. Cree territory stretches from northern Alberta in the west to northern Labrador in the east. Like the Inuit, the Cree were also hunter-gatherers before Europeans arrived on the continent. For most of the year, they live in small bands or hunting groups. But during the summer, they will gather into larger groups in order to socialize, trade, or perform ceremonies. Number 3. The Iroquois Confederacy. Before the original 13 British colonies merged to form the United States of America, there was a group of 6 nations in what is now Upper New York State that came together to form their own union. They were the Mohawk, the Oneida, the Onondaga, the Cayuga, the Seneca, and the Tuscarora. They formed what was called Iroquois or Haudenosaunee Confederacy. The word Haudenosaunee means people of the longhhouse. As the name implies, the Iroquois lived in longhouses, each of which housed several families. Iroquois society was matrilineal. The clan mothers represented the clans of each nation and had certain responsibilities. The Iroquois lived year-round in villages and were horticulturalists. Number 4. The Cherokee. The Cherokee were the largest nation in what is now the southeastern U.S. Although they began as hunters, they eventually embraced agriculture as well. Cherokee society was matrilineal, with clan membership derived from the mother. The Cherokee live in 45 towns consisting of 30 or 80 wattle and dove houses, or asi, as they call them, plus a larger meeting house. They are related to the Iroquois, but they were never part of the Iroquois Confederacy. Number 5. The Choctaw. The Choctaw live in what is now southeastern Mississippi. Their homes were thatched roof cabins built with logs or bark and plastered over the mud. They were very skilled farmers and produced crops not only for their personal use but also to sell and trade. Their crops included corn, beans, and pumpkins. The Choctaw also fished and gathered wild fruit and nuts. Number 7. The Navajo. The Navajo made their homeland in what is now the southwestern U.S., but they originally came from Canada and hence speak language that is part of the Athabascan language family. They were initially hunter-gatherers but began engaging in agriculture once they settled in the southwest. Traditionally, Navajo society was matriarchal and consensus-based. Their religion is based on the belief in the Great Spirit and the Holy People, who taught them that they should live in harmony with the environment. Number 8. Pueblo Nations. Pueblo Nations refer to 19 different tribes that inhabit and still inhabit present-day New Mexico. Though, before the arrival of Europeans, their homeland also extended into what are now the state of Colorado and Arizona. The Pueblo are the descendants of the ancient Anasazi, who built incredible cities and structures such as Pueblo Bonito and Mesa Verde. Number 9. The Mayans. The Mayans are also well known for the pyramids that adorn their cities. In fact, they were building pyramids. Not to mention other amazing buildings, at the same time, Europe was in the midst of the Dark Ages. The Mayan homeland encompassed what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and parts of the Honduras and El Salvador. In addition to their great buildings, the Mayan were also quite advanced in mathematics and astronomy. That's all, thank you.